Hello, I'm Rashmi Bhandary and today I'll tell you something about the pre-placement talk, whether to ask a question, what sort of questions to ask and what sort of questions not to ask. So the first thing is, whether should you be asking a question? Obviously yes, okay. If you are entering the seminar hall for the pre-placement talk of a campus recruitment, you are there to ask a question, alright. Many times students think that I am sitting here just to listen to the company. Yes, you are listening to the company, but the company is also there to listen to you, right. So you should be asking a question. So do make use of this opportunity, because a lot of students will not have the courage, alright, because they don't do their homework and so they're not prepared. So this shows that you are the right candidate for the job, because here you are, done your homework and also have the courage to ask a question, alright. So it's very important that for a student to ask a question. Next, what should the student not ask? Alright, I'm just telling what not to ask, because there are very few things which you should not be asking. You should not be asking something which has already been told to you during the communication, alright, because every company which comes to the campus tells about its role, designation, the rounds, the package, and if they have any bond. So if you're going to ask again, what is the bond period, do you have a bond, what's the package and all that, it just shows you've not read the mail, alright. And if you've not even read the mail, why are you sitting here, right? So please don't ask all these questions which have already been disclosed, alright. And again, if the salary is not disclosed, let the first question not be that one. Just wait for someone to ask another question, or have a question followed up by this question, what is the package, because we were not clear about it, okay, it was not disclosed. Anyway, during the pre-placement talk, they definitely will tell. So I don't see that question coming up. But if whatever reason they have not told before and also in the pre-placement talk, then use this opportunity. But again, let it not be the first question. Let it be a backup question. Have something else to speak and then you can follow it up with that. Alright. So these are some of the things which you should not be asking, and don't ask something which is obvious, which has already been told, because they'll say we just shared it, right? So that means you were not listening well. Alright. So avoid such questions. And then what should you be asking? Okay, so that's the most important thing, right? What should you be asking then? Okay, what should you be asking? So before asking, raise your hand, and when you raise your hand and you get the mic, introduce yourself, alright? So it's very important that you introduce yourself. For example, you are so and so from this college if it's a pool drive, or you're so and so from this branch, alright? So that the recruiter knows who you are, okay? Because if you ask a good question and then you go to the interview, they do remember the candidates who asked questions, okay? So there are few extra brownie points for those candidates, all right? So why don't you use it, all right? So then what should you be asking? You should be asking about the company, and obviously for that you should be checking the website, all right? So before you attend any placement, please spend enough time checking the company website. Who's the CEO? When was it founded? What are the products? What are the shares, right? Who are their competitors? What are they working on? The technology, okay? How many branches? How many employees? What's their revenue? Everything that you can lay your hands on. And this is the time to showcase that you have done your homework, right? So you can ask a question specific to what you have studied or read. And so use this opportunity to ask something more about what you have read. So this shows the employer that you are interested, you have done your homework, and you also have something interesting to ask, right? So it's very important that you do that. Or you can ask something which was shared during the pre-placement talk. They will talk something, right? So you can pick up something from there and ask. Or you can ask something about the role, you could ask something about the training, you could ask something related to your work, alright? So these are some of the things that you can ask. And if you are shy or nervous, what you can do is prepare some 3 questions beforehand. Okay, it's not that you have to ask a question on the spur. You know this is going to happen. Write down 3 questions for yourself. Why 3 is because maybe the question that you wanted to ask is being asked by someone else, right? So you have a backup. So you have these 3 questions and you can always ask. Another thing is that you should be sitting somewhere in the front, ideally, because the mic to come to you is easier if you're in the front. Again, if you're sitting in the front, the slides are more visible. If you're sitting at the back, sometimes the font size is very small and you can't really make out. And another thing is, if you're in the front, it's easier. You know, you can see those people and they can see your expressions, right? So they know that you're wanting to ask a question, and they say, hey, yeah, why not? You want to ask a question, or when you raise your hand, they give it to you. Again, when you raise your hand, I've seen one thing, sometimes students raise it only this much. So it's not visible because there are students sitting in front. So your hand is not visible. So please raise it right high. Okay, so make it high so that it is they can spot you, and introduce yourself and then ask a good question. And yes, it is all about branding yourself also as much as it is for the company. I hope this is helpful. So next time you attend a pre-placement talk, just don't go there to warm the benches. Ask something, alright, and make yourself noticed. I hope this helps, and till we meet again, it's bye from me.